Hello, everyone. Tonight we're stepping back into the foggy streets of Victorian London, where the gas lamps cast a soft, amber glow through the mist, and restless minds wander long into the night. You probably won't survive this world of ceaseless activity, long work days, and the strange remedies folks use to chase away sleeplessness. But don't worry tonight. You're in a safe space, tucked under the soft covers of history. Hey, if you're loving this content, I'd really appreciate it if you could give the video a quick like and hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, tell me where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Imagine yourself trudging home after a long day amid the bustling, soot streaked streets of Victorian London. The city is alive with clattering horse drawn carriages, the occasional distant whistle from a factory shift change, and the low murmur of street vendors packing up for the evening. You crave one simple thing, sleep, but instead, your mind twists and turns. Restless as a cat on a windowsill, sleeplessness wasn't just an occasional nuisance then, it was a widespread problem, woven into the fabric of Victorian life. Factories hummed for 12 to 16 hours a day, and the invention of gas lighting meant the streets and homes stayed bright well past sunset. Your body's natural rhythm, the circadian clock, had little chance to reset properly. This mismatch between nature and the new industrial world was a key reason many found their minds racing at bedtime, their bodies alert long after the sun had disappeared. Doctors and home remedies alike tried to tackle this problem with varying degrees of success and, frankly, oddity. Victorian society wasn't shy about using whatever means necessary to invite sleep. Some remedies were gentle and soothing, like a warm cup of milk or a quiet herbal tea. Others leaned into the more potent side of things, opium tinctures, known as laudanum, quietly permeated middle and upper class households, promising sweet dreams but often delivering foggy mornings. You might be surprised to hear that, even then, people debated the safety and effectiveness of these remedies. Historians still argue whether laudanum was a genuine help for restless minds or an easy, dangerous escape from the grinding pressures of the day. Many Victorian doctors understood that mental stress played a role in insomnia, but had limited tools to treat it beyond tinctures and tonics. Bedtime rituals were another line of defense. Imagine settling down with a well worn book by flickering candlelight or soaking in a warm bath scented with lavender. These small acts were meant to ease the mind, to signal that the day was done. Even if the city outside never truly slowed, aromatherapy wasn't labeled as such, but the use of gentle scents like lavender and rosemary to calm nerves quietly crept into bedrooms across England. And of course, the sleeping environment itself was considered crucial. Heavy feather beds, thick curtains to block out street lamps and morning light, and the right kind of pajamas all contributed to a better night's rest. You might chuckle now thinking about all this fuss over curtains. But in a city where gas lamps burned all night, even a little darkness was a luxury. The Victorian era also embraced the idea of fresh air and gentle exercise to quiet restless minds. Evening strolls in the neighborhood, breathing in the supposedly purifying outdoor air, were often prescribed. It's almost charming to think of people in top hats and long skirts wandering the streets, hoping the cool breeze would lull them to sleep. This slow, meandering approach to rest was deeply rooted in Victorian values patience, routine, and a quiet acceptance of life's hardships. You can almost hear the gentle ticking of a clock, the soft shuffle of slippers on wooden floors, the rustle of paper pages turning, all inviting you into a world where sleep was both a challenge and a sacred ritual. So, as you settle deeper into your blankets tonight, think of the many who came before you, battling their own restless nights with quiet hope and curious remedies. Remember, this isn't just a story about the past, it's a soft whisper to your own tangled thoughts, encouraging you to breathe out and drift toward that gentle, long awaited sleep. You're now stepping into the rhythm of a Victorian workday, where dawn often breaks before you even wake, and the grind of industry pulls at every fiber of your being. Imagine the clang of factory bells, the smell of coal smoke thick in the air, and the relentless push of machines demanding your time and attention for 12 or more hours each day. It's no wonder your body clock is thrown into chaos, your mind jittery when night finally comes. Working long shifts under gaslight was the new normal for many, and the idea of a regular sleep schedule was more wishful thinking than reality. You might picture yourself stumbling home, tired but wired, with the city still buzzing around you like a restless hive. The gas lamps, so charming by day in postcards, now seem to mock your exhaustion, their pale glow pushing back the darkness you desperately crave. This misalignment between natural light and your internal rhythms was a primary culprit for restless nights. Historians still argue whether Victorian workers suffered more from sheer physical exhaustion or the artificial extension of their waking hours. Maybe it was a bit of both, your body tired, but your brain too alert to settle down. There was also the constant hum of anxiety, economic uncertainty, crowded living conditions, and the pressure to perform meant your mind was rarely at ease. You could try to quiet it, but worries about rent, health, and family often lingered like unwelcome guests in the dark. The Victorian medical community started recognizing this dilemma. Those solutions were rudimentary. Gentle advice urged workers to take quiet time after work, maybe a short walk or some light reading, to ease the transition from day to night. But such luxury was out of reach for many who shared tiny rooms in overcrowded neighborhoods, where noise and light bled in through thin walls and windows. Still, the idea of a wind down period was gaining traction. By the late 1800s, some doctors recommended calming activities like knitting, playing simple musical instruments, or even journaling to help restless minds shift gears. You might find it amusing that something as simple as a bit of distraction could be medical advice, a far cry from the heavy medicines and tonics also handed out. Even the timing of meals played a subtle role. Dinner came earlier for some, to allow the body time to digest before bed. But for others, long work hours meant eating late or on the go. This irregularity sometimes kept the digestive system working overtime. making sleep more elusive. And while caffeine had already entrenched itself as a daily companion, its role was complicated. Tea was a staple in almost every household, and coffee houses thrived in London. But as any Victorian insomniac might tell you, the stimulating effects of caffeine were a double edged sword, a pick me up during the day that sometimes turned into a nighttime tormentor. The workday grind also affected women differently. Victorian society expected women to maintain calm and order at home, but many juggled endless chores and childcare. Their sleep was often fragmented, disturbed by the demands of family and the weight of social expectations. Gentle remedies tailored to women's needs sometimes included warm baths, herbal infusions, or nerve tonics, mysterious bottles promising calm for frazzled nerves. Yet, for all the complexity of these daily struggles, the steady pulse of Victorian life kept moving forward. You could imagine yourself in the midst of it all, trying to find a quiet moment as the city's noisy heartbeat hummed in the background. So, as you breathe in slowly tonight, picture those long days and the flickering candlelight waiting at the end of them. Remember the many ways people tried to tame their restless minds, hoping for just a few hours of peaceful sleep before the relentless world called again. Now you're settling into the cozy nook of Victorian remedies for sleepless nights, where warm milk, herbal teas, and other gentle concoctions promise to soothe your restless mind. Picture yourself wrapped in a soft shawl, holding a steaming cup, the quiet warmth seeping slowly into your hands, coaxing your thoughts to slow down. Milk, often warmed with a touch of honey or a sprinkle of nutmeg, was a staple remedy. The Victorians believed its creamy comfort held the power to ease nerves and invite sleep. Of course, the science was murky, but the ritual itself, that quiet moment to pause, might have been half the magic. Historians still argue whether milk truly contained any soporific compounds or if its role was simply that of a gentle placebo. Wrapped in tradition, herbal teas held an equally revered place in the Victorian sleep toolkit. Chamomile, valerian root, and lemon balm were common ingredients steeped to create calming brews. You might imagine the faint, earthy scent wafting through a dimly lit room as the tea steeps slowly, inviting your senses to soften. Each herb came with its own promise: chamomile for relaxation, valerian to quiet the racing heart, lemon balm to lift the spirit and calm the mind. Sometimes these infusions were blended with a hint of hops. Yes, the same flower that flavors beer, because Victorians noticed its sleep inducing properties long before modern science caught on. Drinking a cup was a gentle act of self care, a small rebellion against the sleepless nights. Not all remedies were beverages, though. Some preferred to place warm flannels on their foreheads or soak their feet in hot water before bedtime. These physical comforts were believed to draw out tension and coax the body toward rest. You might smile imagining a Victorian slipping off their boots and nestling their feet into a basin, the heat slowly unfurling knots of anxiety. Then there were the less conventional treatments, a reminder that Victorian medicine wasn't always about subtle comforts. For example, powdered pearls or ground amber were sometimes mixed into remedies, believed to have calming properties. You probably wouldn't want to be the one chewing on crushed gemstones. But hey, desperate times call for desperate measures. The use of honey was also widespread, not just as a sweetener, but as a soothing agent. A teaspoon before bed could coat the throat and calm coughing. A simple gesture that might have helped prevent nights broken by irritation or discomfort. You can almost feel the slow passage of time, hear the clink of a teaspoon against china, the soft murmur of voices sharing these recipes, the careful preparation of a remedy that asks you to slow down and focus on something gentle and warm. Interestingly, historians debate how much these remedies were based on solid evidence and how much on cultural habits. Were they truly effective, or was the act of taking them a soothing ritual in itself? Either way, the slow, deliberate care embedded in these routines likely helped ease the transition from wakefulness to sleep, especially in a world full of noise and light. So, as you cradle your own warm drink tonight, let yourself imagine those Victorian evenings where simple comforts made the difference between tossing and turning or drifting off to peaceful rest. Sometimes, the gentlest things are the most powerful. You're now stepping into the shadowy corner of Victorian remedies where opium and laudanum quietly reigned supreme. Imagine the dim glow of a bedside lamp casting soft shadows on glass bottles filled with dark, syrupy liquid promises of peaceful sleep wrapped in danger. These tinctures, a mix of opium and alcohol, were a common friend to the restless Victorian mind, especially when simpler remedies failed. Laudanum was everywhere, from the homes of the wealthy to humble working class households. It was prescribed for everything from coughs to insomnia, a sort of magical fix-it potion. You might find it startling now, but back then, laudanum was as normal as tea. Some doctors believed it was a necessary evil, a potent but useful tool to calm nerves and coax sleep. Yet, the risks were real. Historians still argue whether laudanum's widespread use did more harm than good. Was it a genuine cure or a slow trap, lulling users into dependence and foggy mornings? Some Victorians became reliant on the tincture, trading restless nights for a blurry haze that dulled not just pain, but also mind and body. You can almost hear the quiet desperation in the stories, mothers giving laudanum to restless children, or factory workers swallowing doses to escape the harshness of the day. It's a reminder that Victorian society grappled with the tension between medical progress and the dangers of overuse. Interestingly, the way laudanum was administered varied. Some took it in small doses, mixed with water or wine, while others swallowed it straight from the bottle, trusting its numbing promise. The ritual itself, the measured pour, the bitter taste was part of the experience, a brief moment of control amid chaos. Despite the controversies, laudanum had a kind of respectability. Even famous writers and artists used it, believing it helped ease creative minds burdened by stress and insomnia. Its legacy is tangled with the medical marvel of its time and a cautionary tale. You might smile now, thinking how such a dangerous substance was so casually part of daily life. Yet, it speaks to the desperation people felt to find rest in an unforgiving world. Sleep was precious, and whatever it took to get there seemed worth the risk. So tonight, as you settle under your covers, think of the delicate balance Victorian sleepers faced between hope and hazard, rest and reliance. It's a gentle reminder that the quest for peace of mind is timeless and sometimes complicated. You drift now into the softer side of Victorian nights, the bedtime rituals that gently ushered restless minds toward sleep. Picture yourself in a dimly lit room, the flicker of candlelight dancing across floral wallpaper as you prepare for the quiet ceremony of winding down. These rituals were less about quick fixes and more about coaxing your body and mind into a calm, steady rhythm. One common ritual was reading by candlelight. Imagine clutching a well loved book, its pages slightly yellowed, as you settle into your feather bed. Slow paced novels or moral tales were favored, the kind of stories that didn't demand too much excitement, but offered a comforting narrative to ease you into rest. Historians still argue whether this habit truly helped settle restless minds or simply filled the hours before sleep came. Taking a warm bath was another cornerstone of Victorian bedtime. You might picture yourself slipping into a tub filled with steaming water, scented with lavender or rose petals. The heat relaxed tense muscles, and the ritual itself signaled to your body that the day was done. Some even added calming herbs or oils, a precursor to modern aromatherapy, which was beginning to gain popularity. The lighting of the room played a subtle but important role. Candles, gas lamps, or oil lamps were dimmed well before bedtime to reduce stimulation. Thick curtains were drawn to block out the intrusive glow of street lamps or the early morning sun. These little adjustments to your environment were designed to create a cocoon of quiet darkness, a soft invitation to sleep. In some households, gentle music filled the air, a harp's slow notes, or the soft hum of a music box. The Victorians recognized the soothing power of sound, and lullabies weren't just for children. Adults, too, found comfort in familiar melodies, their repetitive rhythms acting like a gentle wave to wash away the day's anxieties. Tea time wasn't just for afternoons. A mild, caffeine free herbal tea might be part of the evening routine, sipped slowly to signal that the active part of the day was ending. These moments, quiet and deliberate, formed a bridge from wakefulness to rest, helping ease the mind's chatter. You might smile now, imagining these slow, calming routines as a kind of ancient mindfulness practice. No screens, no buzz, just gentle repetition and soft light. These rituals weren't just about sleep, they were about reclaiming a sense of peace in a busy, noisy world. So tonight, as you prepare for your own rest, consider adopting a little ritual, maybe a warm drink, a few slow breaths, or a quiet story, like the Victorians. You might find that these small acts help your mind soften, your body relax, and your restless thoughts drift away. You now find yourself stepping into the world of Victorian aromatherapy and the curious scents meant to soothe restless minds. Imagine the delicate fragrance of lavender, rosemary, and even rose wafting through a quiet bedroom, wrapping around you like a soft blanket. These scents were more than just pleasant, they were believed to carry calming powers, gently nudging the restless toward sleep. Lavender was the star of the show. Its sweet, floral aroma was thought to ease anxiety and promote relaxation. People placed sprigs in pillows, tucked sachets into drawers, or infused oils to rub on temples. You might smile picturing Victorian ladies delicately pressing dried lavender into silk bags, their scent mingling with the heavy fabric of corsets and petticoats. Rosemary had a different role. While more invigorating during the day, at night it was sometimes used to clear the mind and reduce mental fog. Some believed it sharpened memory by day and calmed nerves by dusk. Historians still argue whether these uses were based on genuine effects or poetic association, but the popularity of rosemary endured. Then there was the use of musk and ambergris, exotic scents that fascinated Victorians. These rare aromas were thought to have mysterious, almost magical qualities. You might find it odd now that such expensive, heavy scents were part of bedtime rituals, but to the Victorians, scent was deeply tied to mood and mental state. In some cases, aromatic oils were added to hot baths, the steam carrying the scents into the air to envelop the bather. Others burned fragrant resins or herbs in small burners, filling rooms with gentle smoke believed to clear negativity and invite calm. Imagine the subtle haze and the soft crackle of a wick as you breathe in those calming scents. Even furniture and textiles played a part. Cedar chests and rosewood wardrobes subtly released natural aromas, and some households used scented beeswax candles to add a gentle fragrance while dimming the lights. These sensory touches created an environment where the mind could relax and the body could prepare for rest. Interestingly, scholars debate how much the scents themselves versus the rituals of using them influenced Victorian sleep. Was it the lavender's chemistry or the quiet moment of inhaling it slowly that mattered most? Likely, it was a combination, an early example of how environment shapes mental calm. So tonight, as you breathe in softly, consider how scent might help your own mind ease, whether it's a spritz of lavender pillow spray or just the memory of a gentle fragrance. These small details can be powerful invitations to drift towards sleep. You're settling into the quieter, shadowy world of Victorian bedrooms, spaces designed with a delicate balance of comfort and modesty, where every detail mattered in the pursuit of peaceful rest. Picture a room softly lit by a flickering candle, walls adorned with heavy drapes, and a sturdy four-poster bed draped in lace and velvet. These rooms were sanctuaries from the bustling world outside, crafted to soothe weary souls. Beds themselves were a statement. Feather mattresses, stacked high with layers of blankets and quilts, promised warmth and softness. Some wealthy Victorians even boasted feather beds as a mark of comfort and status. You might find it amusing that what we now think of as simple bedding was once a luxury that could take up half the room. The placement of furniture followed subtle rules, too. Beds were often positioned away from drafts, and heavy curtains or tapestries helped trap warmth in chilly bedrooms. It's easy to imagine the careful effort to keep a room cozy when central heating was a distant dream. Victorian bedrooms also featured nightcaps soft, snug hats worn to keep heads warm, believed to prevent chills and headaches. You could see yourself pulling one over your ears, a gentle nod to the body's need for warmth to ease tension and encourage sleep. Closets and wardrobes were thoughtfully scented, as you may recall from the lavender sachets mentioned earlier, creating a gentle olfactory background that complemented the room's atmosphere. These little comforts helped transform a bedroom into a haven, a place set apart from the demands and noise of daily life. Lighting was another carefully considered element. Gas lamps, oil lamps, or candles provided a soft glow, carefully controlled to avoid startling brightness. Too much light disrupted sleep, so dimming or extinguishing lamps at just the right moment was part of the bedtime ritual. Historians still debate how much these bedroom details truly impacted sleep quality versus the broader social and environmental factors. But the care and attention given to these spaces reveal a Victorian understanding of rest as a holistic experience, body, mind, and environment intertwined. So, as you nestle into your own space tonight, take a moment to imagine the layers of warmth, soft lighting, and quiet sense of a Victorian bedroom. Let yourself be wrapped in that gentle cocoon where the world outside fades and peaceful sleep awaits. You're now slipping into the quieter side of Victorian evenings, the careful attention given to diet and its surprising influence on sleep. Imagine a modest kitchen filled with the scent of simmering broth, the gentle clink of porcelain bowls, and the low murmur of evening conversation. What you ate and when was thought to play a vital role in how peacefully you'd rest. Victorian dinners were often served early, especially for the working classes, to allow ample time for digestion before bedtime. Picture yourself at a simple wooden table, savoring bowls of pottage or roasted root vegetables, dishes designed to be filling yet gentle on the stomach. Heavy or spicy foods were generally discouraged before bed, believed to provoke discomfort and restless nights. One mainstream fact, Victorian, doctors often recommended bland meals in the evening, such as bread, mild cheese, or boiled eggs, to help calm the digestive system. They thought a busy stomach disturbed sleep, an idea that echoes modern advice about avoiding late, heavy meals. Yet, the Victorians also indulged in some quirky dietary remedies. For example, some believed a small glass of warm beer or cider before bed could relax the body. Don't picture a tavern brawl here, rather, a quiet sip, not enough to intoxicate, but just enough to ease tension. Historians still argue whether these mild alcoholic beverages actually improved sleep or simply masked the underlying issues temporarily. Sweet treats like sponge cake or fruit puddings sometimes made a gentle appearance at supper. Sugar's role in sleep is still debated today, but in Victorian times, it was sometimes thought to provide a calming boost or a comforting end to the day. Interestingly, certain foods were avoided altogether for their supposed sleep disrupting effects. Tea, with its caffeine, was a known culprit, but some also steered clear of onions and garlic before bed, believing their strong flavors could stir the senses and keep you awake. Victorian cookbooks often included recipes for sleepy time dishes, blending simple ingredients with a pinch of herbal wisdom. These recipes weren't just about nutrition, they were a form of folk medicine, handed down from grandmother to granddaughter, soothing both body and mind. So as you settle down tonight, maybe with a light snack or a warm drink, imagine the care with which Victorians approached their evening meals. The goal was simple: prepare the body to relax, ease digestion, and welcome sleep's gentle embrace. You're now entering the world of Victorian sleepwear and nighttime attire, where comfort met modesty in a delicate, sometimes elaborate balance. Picture yourself slipping into a long, flowing nightgown made of soft cotton or linen, the fabric cool against your skin, but heavy enough to keep you warm through chilly nights. Nightshirts for men and nightgowns for women were the norm, often simple, but sometimes adorned with lace or embroidery, an odd mix of function and quiet elegance. The Victorians believed loose, breathable fabrics helped prevent night sweats and promoted comfortable sleep, a mainstream idea still common today. One quirky detail: many sleepers also wore nightcaps, soft fabric hats meant to keep the head warm and protect hair from dust and oil. You might find it amusing to imagine adults tucking in these caps before bed, a tradition that now seems quaint but was practical in drafty, cold bedrooms. Historians still argue about how much these clothing choices affected sleep quality. Did the extra layers and accessories truly help? Or were they more about social norms and expectations of modesty? Even behind closed doors, some Victorians even wore woolen socks or slippers to keep their feet warm, believing that cold extremities could disturb sleep. This idea surprisingly aligns with modern research, suggesting that warm feet help regulate body temperature for better rest. Interestingly, there was also an emphasis on cleanliness. Night clothes were washed regularly, often more so than day wear, to prevent skin irritation and discomfort. The ritual of changing into fresh garments each night was part of the broader bedtime routine that prepared body and mind for sleep. So tonight, as you pull your blankets up and settle in, imagine the soft fabrics and cozy caps of Victorian sleepers. Their care and attention to nighttime comfort remind us how simple things: warmth, softness, cleanliness can gently ease us into peaceful rest. You're now stepping quietly into the realm of Victorian sounds, or rather, the intentional absence of them as sleep's unseen guardian. Imagine the soft hush that blankets a Victorian household after dusk, where silence was considered a precious part of the bedtime environment. The creak of a floorboard or a whisper carried weight in this world, where restful nights depended on peace. Victorians often went to great lengths to minimize noise pollution. Thick curtains, heavy carpets, and upholstered furniture absorbed sounds, creating a quiet cocoon within the home. Imagine your footsteps muffled as you tiptoe toward your bedroom, careful not to disturb others already lost to sleep. One lesser known fact: some wealthier households employed night watchmen or housekeepers whose duties included quieting the house as bedtime approached. This human hush keeper ensured late night sounds were kept to a minimum, a job we don't hear much about today, but was vital then. Historians still debate how much ambient noise affected Victorian sleep compared to modern times. Some argue that the slower pace of life naturally reduced noise, while others believe the architectural choices actively shaped a quieter atmosphere, a practice we might learn from in our busy, sound saturated world outside. The absence of cars and electronics didn't guarantee silence. There were horses, street vendors, and the occasional carriage wheels clattering over cobblestones. Yet, Victorians designed homes to shield themselves from these disruptions, often with double windows or thick shutters. Even within rooms, families kept voices low and movements gentle after dark. Children learned early to respect the quiet hours, and the household's rhythm slowed to a near whisper, a lullaby of silence itself. Tonight, as you settle into your own quiet space, think of the Victorian devotion to stillness in a world brimming with noise. That soft hush was a gift, an unseen comfort that invited your mind to relax and your body to drift peacefully. You're now gently wandering into the curious world of Victorian sleep aids beyond medicines, the quirky gadgets and tools designed to coax restful nights. Picture a bedside table cluttered with small jars, polished wooden boxes, and delicate glass bottles, each promising a touch of calm in its own peculiar way. One common sleep aid was the ear trumpet, not just for hearing, but sometimes used to soften harsh noises by funneling sound away, helping restless sleepers avoid sudden disturbances. It's a quirky detail that shows how even technology of the era tried to blend comfort with practicality. Another tool was the bed warmer, a metal pan filled with hot coals, carefully slid under thick blankets to chase away the night's chill. Imagine feeling that gentle warmth spread beneath the covers, a slow, soothing heat that made falling asleep just a bit easier in drafty Victorian rooms. Historians still argue whether these devices genuinely improved sleep or were more about the ritual comfort they offered. Was the psychological reassurance of a warm bed or muffled sounds as important as the physical effects? Likely so. Some Victorians also used weighted blankets or heavy quilts, early versions of what we now call deep pressure therapy. These weights offered a sense of security and calm, quietly pressing the body into relaxation, much like a gentle hug. And then there were the herbal pillows, small sachets filled with chamomile, hops, or valerian root placed strategically to release soothing scents through the night. You might smile, picturing these fragrant little bundles nestled near your cheek as you drift off. These tools weren't just practical, they were part of a bedtime ritual, a slow unwinding that told your body it was time to rest. The care and creativity in Victorian sleep aids reflect a deep human desire for comfort, no matter how modest or elaborate the means. So tonight, as you arrange your own sleep space, think about what small comforts you can create: a warm touch, a soft scent, or a quiet hush that might gently invite you into peaceful rest. You now find yourself drifting into the Victorian world of evening storytelling, a gentle tradition meant to soothe restless minds and invite sleep's tender arrival. Imagine sitting by a crackling fireplace, the amber glow casting soft shadows as a quiet voice weaves simple tales, nothing too exciting, just enough to ease your thoughts into calmness. Victorian families often gathered for storytelling after dinner, sharing folk tales, legends, or mild moral stories. These narratives were carefully chosen to avoid rousing excitement, instead, creating a cozy atmosphere where listeners could feel safe and comforted. Picture yourself wrapped in a shawl, listening as the room grows still and your eyelids grow heavy. One charming tidbit: some storytellers used subtle humor or gentle sarcasm, a soft nudge to lighten the mood before sleep. You might smile remembering a grandmother's cheeky remark about a foolish character, her voice low and playful, just enough to make you chuckle without waking the house. Historians still debate the balance between entertainment and relaxation in these bedtime tales. Did the stories truly prepare minds for sleep, or were they simply a familiar, reassuring ritual? Either way, storytelling was a nightly balm, an invitation to let go of the day. In some households, lullabies accompanied stories, sung in soothing tones that wrapped listeners in sound like a soft blanket. Music and narrative blended into one gentle experience, carefully paced to slow breathing and heartbeat. Interestingly, storytelling wasn't just for children. Adults, too, enjoyed these shared moments, valuing the sense of connection and the calming effect of a well told tale. It was a subtle reminder that sleep wasn't a solitary journey, but a communal ritual. So, as you settle tonight, imagine those warm voices and the flicker of firelight, the soft laughter and gentle lessons. Let the rhythm of words and melodies ease your mind, inviting you into a peaceful, dream filled rest. You're now easing into the curious world of Victorian bedtime rituals for children, where gentle routines helped little ones drift into dreamland. Picture a mother softly humming a lullaby while tucking her child into a small, carved wooden bed, the night air filled with a mix of warmth, love, and the faint scent of lavender. Victorian parents believed that consistency and calm were keys to good sleep. So bedtime followed a careful sequence: washing up, changing into night clothes, a short prayer or hymn, and finally, a soothing story or song. These rituals created a safe, predictable environment, helping children feel secure enough to let go of the day. One quirky detail: some families used comfort objects like small dolls or homemade cloth animals, precursors to today's stuffed toys, believed to ease anxiety and loneliness at night. Imagine the soft touch of a well loved rag doll, its worn fabric a silent guardian through restless hours. Historians still debate how widespread these comforts were among different social classes, but the idea of bedtime routine as a sleep aid was nearly universal. The gentle, repeated actions calmed both child and parent, creating a shared moment of peace. Some Victorian parents even employed night nurses or caretakers to help soothe fussy babies or children prone to nightmares. These caretakers used soft voices and slow rocking, blending care with experience to coax sleep gently and without fuss. Interestingly, Victorian sleep advice for children often emphasized early bedtimes and minimal evening stimulation, no late games or loud stories, just a quiet, dimly lit room where dreams could take root. This echoes modern pediatric sleep recommendations, showing some timeless wisdom. So, as you think back on your own childhood nights or imagine this tender scene, let the gentle rhythms and soft voices guide you. Bedtime, after all, is a pause, a moment of calm before sleep's deep journey. You now drift softly into the curious world of Victorian remedies for restless minds, where doctors and patients sought gentle cures beyond the pillow. Imagine a quiet parlor, softly lit, where a concerned patient discusses sleepless nights with a physician who offers a blend of traditional wisdom and emerging medical ideas. Victorian doctors often prescribed herbal teas and infusions as the first line of defense against restlessness. Chamomile, valerian root, and hops were favorites brewed into warm drinks meant to soothe nerves and ease the transition to sleep. Picture yourself cradling a delicate porcelain cup, the steam curling up as you inhale the earthy, calming scent. One quirky practice involved opium poppy remedies, carefully dosed to quiet nerves without overwhelming the patient. You might be surprised how common and accepted these were, though historians still argue about their safety and effectiveness. This delicate balance between relief and risk was part of Victorian medical care's complexity. Another mainstream treatment was hydrotherapy, the use of baths and water treatments. Warm baths infused with calming herbs or mineral salts were believed to relax muscles and calm the mind. You might imagine sinking into a tub of steaming water, feeling tension melt away as the day's worries drift off. Historians debate how much these treatments genuinely helped versus placebo effects or the soothing ritual itself. Regardless, the emphasis was on gentle, non invasive cures, reflecting a Victorian preference for calm, controlled healing. Interestingly, Victorian pharmacies sold a bewildering array of sleep tonics, many containing alcohol or herbal extracts. People often experimented with these concoctions, hoping to find a personal recipe for restful nights. So tonight, as you sip your own warm drink or soak in a bath, consider the long history of gentle remedies designed to ease restless minds. These quiet rituals, simple and soothing, continue to invite sleep's tender embrace. You now slip gently into the quieter world of Victorian bedroom scents, where fragrance played a subtle but important role in inviting sleep. Imagine walking into a softly lit room filled with the faint aroma of lavender, rose, or rosemary, scents carefully chosen to calm the mind and soothe the senses. Victorians believed that certain smells had the power to influence mood and health. Lavender, in particular, was a bedtime favorite, thought to ease anxiety and encourage peaceful rest. Picture small sachets tucked under pillows or hung in wardrobes, releasing their gentle fragrance through the night. One curious tidbit: some households burned incense or small bundles of dried herbs called smudge sticks before bedtime to purify the air and create a calming atmosphere. You might find this ritual strangely comforting, a quiet signal that the day is done and sleep is near. Historians still debate the scientific validity of these practices, but the psychological impact is clear. The familiar, soothing sense likely helped relax the mind, much like today's use of aromatherapy. Victorians also made use of pillow powders, fine mixtures of fragrant herbs, and flowers sprinkled on bed linens to freshen them and add a pleasant scent. These powders often included ingredients like rose petals, orris root, and hops, blending tradition with a touch of indulgence. Interestingly, the emphasis on scent extended beyond sleep itself. Pleasant smells were believed to protect against miasma, or bad air, thought to cause illness. So these fragrances served a dual purpose, health and comfort. So tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine the gentle waft of lavender or the soft hint of rosemary surrounding you. These quiet, fragrant rituals remind us that sleep is a full sensory experience, inviting peace through sight, touch, and smell alike. You're now settling into the fascinating practice of Victorian sleep hygiene, a term not yet coined, but certainly understood in their own way. Imagine a household where bedtime routines are strictly observed not just for children, but for adults too, aimed at training the body and mind to fall asleep naturally. Victorians emphasized regular sleep schedules, encouraging going to bed and rising at the same times daily. This consistency was believed to help the body's internal clock harmonize with nature's rhythms. Picture yourself in a dimly lit room, clock ticking softly as you prepare for a familiar, soothing bedtime. One interesting practice involved limiting stimulating activities before sleep. No late night reading of exciting novels or loud conversations. Instead, quiet hobbies like knitting, sketching, or simple letter writing were encouraged, easing the mind's busy gears into a slow, gentle pace. Historians still debate how strictly these routines were followed across social classes. Some suggest that for the working poor, erratic schedules and long work hours made ideal sleep hygiene difficult, while wealthier families could afford more control over their daily rhythms. Victorians also understood the importance of fresh air and ventilation, often opening windows or sleeping with light coverings to avoid stuffiness. A mainstream idea echoed today. You might imagine the cool night breeze brushing your face as you settle into bed. Interestingly, some sleep experts of the era warned against daytime napping, believing it could disrupt nighttime rest. A notion still discussed by modern researchers. The focus was always on strengthening the natural sleep cycle. So, as you prepare for your own night, think about the gentle discipline of these routines, how they guided generations into peaceful slumber. The quiet power of habit remains a cornerstone of restful sleep. You're now drifting into the shadowy world of Victorian sleep myths and folklore, where stories and old wives' tales shaped how people understood their nightly rest. Imagine sitting by the hearth, hearing whispered legends about spirits, dreams, and the unseen forces that could affect your sleep. One common myth was that certain animals, like owls or black cats, could bring restless nights or bad dreams if they appeared near the bedroom window. Picture a Victorian sleeper nervously glancing at a shadow outside, half expecting a mischievous spirit to sneak in with the night air. Another widespread belief involved the dreamcatcher concept, though Victorian versions varied. Some thought that hanging herbs like rosemary or thyme above the bed would ward off nightmares. These herbal charms weren't just for scent, but for protection, blending superstition with practical herbalism. Historians still debate how deeply these beliefs influenced Victorian sleep habits. Were they mere superstitions, or did they serve a psychological purpose, comforting the anxious and giving control over the unknown? Interestingly, sleep paralysis and nightmares were often explained through folklore visions of night hags or spirits pressing on sleepers' chests. The anxiety such stories caused might have made sleep more restless, but the shared experience also created community and understanding. Victorians also believed that your dreams could foretell the future or reveal hidden truths, a hopeful thought that encouraged journaling and dream interpretation. You might imagine the soft scratch of a pen as someone records their nighttime visions by candlelight. So tonight, as you close your eyes, remember these stories odd, gentle reminders of how sleep has long been a bridge between the seen and unseen, the known and the mysterious. You now drift gently into the world of Victorian bedroom lighting, where the soft glow of candles and oil lamps shape the transition from wakefulness to sleep. Imagine a dim room illuminated by flickering flames, shadows dancing softly on the walls, creating an atmosphere both calming and mysterious. Victorians preferred subdued lighting before bed, believing bright lights disturbed the body's natural rhythm. The warm amber hue of candlelight was thought to signal the brain that it was time to unwind. Picture yourself adjusting the wick on a small brass candlestick, the gentle glow soothing your tired eyes. One quirky fact: some households used nightlights, small oil lamps designed to burn safely through the night, providing just enough light to navigate without waking others. You might find it amusing how these early night lights required constant attention to avoid smoke or fire hazards. Historians still debate the impact of artificial light on Victorian sleep quality as urban gas lighting became more common, altering natural day night cycles. The shift from candle to gaslight introduced new challenges to peaceful rest, a theme echoed in today's screen-lit world. Victorian etiquette also dictated careful use of light in shared bedrooms. One person's candle might be extinguished while another's remained lit, respecting each sleeper's preferences. This delicate balance speaks to a time when bedtime was as much about social harmony as personal comfort. Interestingly, some believed that the direction of light and shadow in a room could affect dreams or mood, a subtle blend of superstition and early psychology. The soft interplay of light and dark created a sensory environment that gently eased minds toward sleep. So tonight, as you dim your own lights, imagine the flickering candles of Victorian nights, quiet beacons guiding you from the day's bustle into the tender embrace of rest. You now ease quietly into the world of Victorian sleepwear, where comfort and modesty mingled in garments designed for rest. Imagine yourself slipping into soft cotton or flannel nightshirts, long and flowing, enveloping you like a gentle hug from the past. Victorian nightwear was often layered shifts, petticoats, and nightgowns crafted to keep sleepers warm in unheated bedrooms. Picture the rustle of fabric as you settle beneath heavy quilts, the snug feeling, a quiet reassurance against the cold. One lesser known detail: some nightshirts had delicate embroidery or lace trims, subtle expressions of personal style, even in sleepwear. It's charming to think how these small touches made bedtime feel a bit special, a private luxury in daily life. Historians still debate how much Victorian sleepwear prioritized fashion over function. For many, warmth and modesty were paramount, especially in households where multiple family members shared rooms, preserving privacy during vulnerable moments. There was also a practical side. Long nightshirts protected delicate skin from rough sheets and helped regulate body temperature in colder months. Additional woolen wraps or knitted socks were common, each layer a step toward cozy comfort. Interestingly, the concept of pajamas as we know them today was just emerging, imported from Eastern styles but not yet widespread. Victorian sleepwear was thus a blend of tradition and slow change, reflecting broader cultural shifts. So tonight, as you pull on your own cozy clothes, imagine the layers of Victorian nightwear, soft, practical, and thoughtfully made to cradle you gently through the night's quiet hours. You now slip softly into the world of Victorian bedroom furnishings, where every piece from beds to curtains was chosen to cradle sleep in comfort and calm. Imagine a bedroom with heavy drapes, carved wooden bedposts, and feather stuffed mattresses, all designed to create a sanctuary from the outside world. Victorian beds were often large and imposing, with high posts for hanging thick curtains to block drafts and light. Picture pulling those velvet curtains closed around you, forming a cozy cocoon that muffles sound and holds warmth like a gentle embrace. One fascinating detail: feather mattresses, or feather beds, were popular among the well to do, providing a plush surface that felt like sleeping on clouds. Imagine sinking softly into layers of feathers, the bed gently molding to your shape as you settle in. Historians still debate how widespread feather beds were, given their expense, but evidence suggests even middle class families prized feather stuffed bedding as a special comfort. The contrast between cold floors and warm beds was a nightly reality in many Victorian homes. Curtains also served practical purposes beyond warmth. They kept out drafts, ensured privacy in crowded houses, and even blocked out street lamps or moonlight that might disturb sleep. The thick fabrics absorbed sound, creating a quieter, calmer room. Interestingly, the design of beds and bedrooms reflected Victorian ideas about health. Good ventilation, cleanliness, and natural materials were thought to promote restful sleep and overall well being. The bed was not just furniture, but a crucial part of nightly care. So tonight, as you lie down in your own bed, imagine those heavy curtains and soft feather beds surrounding you, a quiet fortress of comfort and calm where sleep can softly take hold. You now settle gently into the world of Victorian bedroom pets, where small animals were sometimes welcomed as soothing companions during bedtime. Imagine a quiet room where a cat curls up by the fire, or a canary's soft song drifts through the stillness, adding a gentle rhythm to the night. Pets were believed to bring comfort and calm, their presence easing loneliness and anxiety. Picture a delicate lapdog nestling on a pillow, its warmth a tender reassurance against the chill of night. One charming detail: some Victorians kept night cats. Cats specially cared for to keep homes free from mice, but also cherished as sleepy time friends. You might smile thinking about a cat's quiet purring acting as a natural lullaby. Historians still debate how common pets were in bedrooms across social classes, while wealthier families enjoyed more animals indoors. Even working class homes sometimes had beloved animals nearby, though sleeping arrangements varied widely. Interestingly, the Victorian era saw the rise of pet keeping as a popular pastime, with emerging ideas about animal companionship and its benefits for mental health. This was a quiet revolution in how people related to animals, especially during private moments like bedtime. Some doctors even recommended pets as part of therapy for nervous or restless patients, suggesting that the calming presence could improve sleep quality. The gentle bond between human and animal created a soft space for relaxation. So tonight, as you settle down, imagine the soft purr or gentle chirp of a beloved pet nearby, a small guardian of your dreams and a reminder of the quiet comforts that make sleep a little easier. You now drift gently into the curious world of Victorian sleep related superstitions, where beliefs mingled with nightly rituals in ways both charming and quietly unsettling. Imagine a dimly lit room where whispered warnings about unlucky dreams or strange omens echo softly in your mind. One common superstition was that sleeping with your head facing north would invite bad luck or restless nights. Picture adjusting your pillow carefully, hoping to align just right to avoid disturbed sleep. This idea likely originated from a mix of ancient beliefs and early magnetic theories, though historians still debate its precise Victorian popularity. Another quirky belief was that placing a silver coin under your pillow could protect against nightmares or evil spirits. The gleam of metal under soft fabric became a talisman, a small, comforting charm for uneasy sleepers. Some Victorians thought that sneezing just as you fell asleep could summon bad dreams, prompting gentle rituals to ward off the threat, like crossing your fingers or saying a quick prayer. You might find it amusing how these small acts gave a sense of control over the mysterious realm of dreams. Historians argue about how seriously such superstitions were taken, but their persistence in Victorian culture speaks to a deep human need to find patterns and protections when the mind slips into vulnerability. Interestingly, sleepwalking and night terrors were often attributed to spiritual interference or unsettled souls, blending medical mystery with folklore. These stories shaped how families cared for troubled sleepers, with a mix of caution and compassion. So tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine these gentle superstitions weaving through the quiet Victorian night, a tender reminder of how hope and fear dance softly before sleep. You now ease into the gentle world of Victorian bedtime reading, where quiet books and magazines were carefully chosen to soothe the mind before sleep. Imagine a soft chair by a flickering candle, the rustle of pages whispering secrets of far off places and gentle stories. Victorians often preferred light, uplifting literature before bed, poetry, pastoral tales, or collections of gentle anecdotes. Picture yourself turning the pages of a book filled with calm, comforting words designed to ease worries and invite dreams. One interesting detail: some Victorian magazines featured sleep stories, short fictional pieces meant specifically to lull readers into rest. These were carefully crafted to avoid excitement or suspense, a precursor to modern bedtime stories for adults. Historians still debate the overall impact of reading on sleep, considering the balance between mental engagement and relaxation. But the ritual of quiet reading undeniably helped many settle their thoughts before night. Interestingly, the rise of mass printing and affordable books expanded access to bedtime reading, making it a popular habit across social classes. Even those without personal libraries borrowed books from circulating libraries or neighbors. There was also a strong moral aspect. Reading before bed was encouraged as a wholesome alternative to late night socializing or other distractions, reinforcing Victorian values of self control and propriety. So, tonight, as you settle down with a book or audiobook, imagine the soft glow of candlelight and the gentle rhythm of words guiding you toward peaceful slumber, a tradition that soothes across centuries. You now drift softly into the quieter world of Victorian nighttime beverages, where warm drinks played a soothing role in the bedtime ritual. Imagine a steaming cup cradled in your hands, the gentle aroma inviting calm as you prepare for rest. Milk was a popular choice, often warmed and sweetened with honey or a pinch of cinnamon. Picture the creamy warmth spreading comfort through your body. A simple, gentle remedy for sleepless nights. One quirky Victorian favorite was posset, a creamy drink made with hot milk curdled with wine or ale, spiced with nutmeg or cinnamon. While it sounds unusual today, posset was believed to calm nerves and promote restful sleep, a cozy indulgence after a long day. Historians still debate the effectiveness of such drinks, but their ritual importance is clear. The act of sipping something warm and mild often helped signal the body that bedtime was near, easing the transition from busy day to quiet night. Interestingly, tea was usually avoided before sleep because of its caffeine content, but herbal infusions like chamomile or lavender tea were embraced for their calming properties. These botanical brews had been part of traditional medicine for centuries, gently passed down through Victorian households. Some Victorians even added a splash of brandy or other spirits to their nightcaps, blending warmth and mild sedation. This practice was common but approached with caution, as doctors warned against overuse. So tonight, as you sip your own warm drink, imagine the comforting Victorian ritual behind it, a quiet moment of peace and preparation for the gentle descent into sleep. You now settle softly into the peculiar world of Victorian bedroom pets, those tiny, furry companions who often joined their owners at night. Picture a small lapdog curled up on a velvet cushion or a pet canary softly singing its lullaby from a nearby cage. These little animals were more than just cute additions. They were considered comforting presences, easing anxiety and loneliness in the quiet of the night. Imagine the gentle warmth of a cat's fur as it curls against your legs, a silent guardian of dreams. One intriguing Victorian detail: some families kept night cats specifically to control pests, but grew fond of their quiet company, allowing them to share the bedroom. This cozy practice provided both practical and emotional benefits. Historians still debate how widespread pets were allowed in bedrooms, especially across different social classes. But evidence suggests a growing trend among the middle and upper classes during the era. Interestingly, Victorian doctors occasionally recommended pets as a remedy for nervous ailments, believing their calming presence could improve rest. This early nod to what we now call animal assisted therapy shows a surprisingly modern understanding of sleep and mental health. So, tonight, as you feel the soft presence of a pet nearby, or imagine one by your side, remember the gentle comfort they brought to Victorian sleepers, a quiet friend in the night's stillness. You now drift into the slow, cozy world of Victorian bedroom scents, where gentle fragrances played a quiet role in preparing the mind and body for sleep. Imagine soft sachets filled with lavender or rosemary tucked under your pillow, sending subtle, soothing aromas into the night air. Victorians believed these natural scents had calming effects, helping to ease anxiety and promote peaceful rest. Picture inhaling the faint floral notes as you settle under your blankets, the aroma wrapping around you like a warm, invisible hug. One interesting detail besides lavender: other herbs such as chamomile and thyme were commonly used in bedroom sachets, each with its own calming reputation. These blends weren't just for scent, they also helped repel moths and insects, serving a dual purpose. Historians still debate how much these fragrances genuinely improved sleep versus offering a placebo comfort, but their popularity is undeniable. The sensory experience of scent was a subtle but powerful bedtime ritual. Interestingly, some Victorians burned incense or used scented oils in their bedrooms, a practice borrowed from earlier centuries and foreign cultures, adding a faint, exotic touch to the night's atmosphere. This gentle focus on fragrance reflected broader Victorian interests in aromatherapy and natural remedies, a precursor to today's sleep aid trends. The bedroom became not just a place for rest, but a carefully curated sensory retreat. So tonight, as you breathe in your own favorite soothing scent, imagine the layers of fragrant comfort Victorians carefully crafted, soft whispers of calm drifting through the quiet dark. You now drift gently into the world of Victorian sleep aids, where natural remedies and quirky concoctions promised a better night's rest. Imagine a bedside table cluttered with small bottles, powders, and poultices, all part of the nightly ritual to coax the body into calm. One popular remedy was valerian root, brewed into a tea believed to ease nerves and promote drowsiness. Picture yourself sipping the bitter brew, its earthy taste a small price for peaceful dreams. Some found it effective, others dismissed it as a herbal placebo. Another Victorian favorite was the use of warm baths infused with calming herbs like lavender or hops. Historians still debate how much these baths truly aided sleep versus simply relaxing tense muscles and quieting the mind. Interestingly, some sleep aids included more unusual ingredients, like the occasional dash of opium or chloral hydrate, though these were usually prescribed by doctors and used with caution due to their addictive properties. Many Victorian women turned to soporific pillows, small cushions stuffed with calming herbs, placed under the head or feet. These subtle sensory helpers were believed to influence dreams and encourage deeper rest. Doctors and pharmacists debated the safety and effectiveness of these remedies, reflecting a growing medical interest in sleep's mysteries. Victorian sleep aids combined folk wisdom with emerging science in a delicate balance. So tonight, as you settle down, imagine the soft rituals of tinctures, baths, and pillows, each a gentle hope for rest in a time before modern sleep science. You now sink softly into the quiet world of Victorian sleep schedules, where strict routines governed the hours before bed. Imagine yourself following a precise sequence dinner, reading, tea, and then finally, the lights dimming for rest. Victorians believed that going to bed and waking up at the same time every day was key to good health. Picture the family clock chiming the hour, signaling the gentle close of the day's activities, encouraging bodies to fall into a predictable rhythm. One curious detail first: sleep and second sleep were common concepts, where people naturally woke after a few hours of rest, stayed quietly awake for a time, then returned to sleep. Historians still debate how universal this biphasic sleep pattern was in Victorian England. Some used this waking period for reading, prayer, or quiet reflection activities that eased the mind before the second slumber. Imagine this calm interlude as a pause, a natural part of the night's ebb and flow. Interestingly, the rise of artificial lighting began to challenge these natural rhythms, pushing bedtimes later and fragmenting sleep. Victorian doctors were among the first to notice the effects of this shift on health and rest. So tonight, as you settle into your own routine, imagine the comforting structure of Victorian evenings, the clock's steady beat guiding you gently toward rest. In harmony with body and mind, you now ease gently into the world of Victorian nighttime noise and its surprising role in sleep. Imagine the soft crackle of a fireplace, the distant toll of a clock, or even the gentle hum of household activity as the house settles for the night. Victorians often welcomed these subtle sounds as part of the sleep environment, believing total silence might actually unsettle the mind. Picture the rhythmic tick-tock of a grandfather clock offering a steady heartbeat to lull you towards sleep. One quirky detail: some families employed white noise of sorts by leaving a spinning wheel or clockwork toy running nearby, its gentle whirring filling the room with calming motion and sound. Historians still debate whether these sounds truly improved sleep quality or simply distracted from louder, more disruptive noises. but their consistent presence in Victorian homes suggests they held some comforting value. Interestingly, natural sounds like rain tapping on window panes or the rustle of leaves were also treasured, seen as soothing companions to the nighttime stillness. This appreciation for ambient noise echoes modern sleep science's findings. Some doctors even prescribed specific sounds or music to nervous patients, hinting at an early understanding of auditory therapies for rest. It's fascinating to think of these early experiments in creating the perfect sleep soundscape. So tonight, as you listen to the gentle background hums around you, imagine the Victorian bedroom filled with soft, soothing sounds, a quiet symphony to cradle your drifting mind. You now settle softly into the final quiet moments of the Victorian bedtime ritual, where gentle thoughts and whispered prayers bid the day farewell. Imagine yourself lying beneath soft quilts, the flicker of candlelight casting slow moving shadows as you prepare to drift away. Many Victorians ended their day with a brief prayer or meditation, a moment of reflection to calm the mind and ease worries. Picture the soothing cadence of familiar words, like a gentle tide washing away the day's noise. One interesting detail: some families kept bedside Bibles or prayer books, their worn pages a testament to countless evenings spent seeking peace before sleep. This practice offered both spiritual comfort and a soothing mental focus. Historians still debate how deeply these rituals influenced actual sleep quality, but their persistence reveals a cultural commitment to ending the day with calm intention. The act of ritual itself, regardless of belief, fostered relaxation. Interestingly, the rise of secular meditation and early mindfulness practices also appeared during this period, blending with traditional prayers to create varied bedtime routines. It's a reminder that the search for calm rest transcends time and belief. So tonight, as you lay back and breathe slowly, imagine the gentle close of a Victorian evening, the soft words, the fading candlelight, the comforting silence inviting you into peaceful sleep.